My name is Janelle Gabay. I was born in Omaha, Nebraska, on an Air Force base, and we didn't live there very long. We moved to the Philippines, where I spent a couple of years. My dad was stationed at an Air Force base in the Philippines. Then we moved to Virginia. My dad worked at the Pentagon, so I made a lot of friends there and didn't want to move. But we moved again in another couple of years, and we spent 1 year in Prattville, Alabama, where he worked on another Air Force base. I enjoyed Prattville, but they talked funny. Very Southern. Then I moved to Maine and lived with my family, and my dad moved to Korea, and we didn't see him for a year. Then we ended up in Melbourne, Florida. He was stationed at Patrick on Satellite Beach. And finally, I spent my high school years in Largo, Florida. He was finally stationed at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa. I attended many colleges. I did graduate within 4.5 years, but I went to Rollins to study theater, and then University of Central Florida for communications, then ended up at Florida State with my husband, and ended up at University of South Florida, where I graduated with an English literature degree. My biggest influences in life have always been close family. My parents definitely influenced me a lot. I've always had good teachers. I wasn't really into writing in middle school, but I had an exceptional teacher named Mr. Highsmith. So he made reading and writing fun, but I was more into theater. Theater was a huge influence. I did a lot of stage production and plays. And I've been told that the dialogue in my books is very well done, and I attribute that to acting and theater and reading scripts and plays all the time. I got inspired to write, I think, from my children. I was getting older, they were getting older, and so I began writing my stories. And my stories are young adult fantasy, which probably stems from, I read a lot of that. I loved reading Harry Potter. I love J.K. Rowling, the Divergent series, the Hunger Games series. We were enjoying reading those together as a family. And I grew up on Star Wars, my favorite of all time. I remember going to see Star Wars with my father, the very first Star Wars. And then when the new ones came out, I took my kids with my dad. Some of my favorite authors and books. When I was growing up, I loved the Black Stallion series, written by Walter Farley. Then they made it into a movie, which was amazing. I loved Daniel Steele as a young girl. I think the very first book I ever read, real book, was Daniel Steele's The Ring, about World War II, and it was an eye-opener for me. I'm actually a very slow reader. I think because I take everything in and want all the little details, so it takes me a really long time to read a book. Right now, I love Sarah Maas. Her Court of Thorn and Roses series is incredible. J.K. Rowling, of course. I love that I live in Florida and can go to Harry Potter World because it's amazing. Those are a few of my favorite books and favorite writers. I'd say my number one hobby that I don't do, I watch, is tennis. I love tennis. I'm hoping to go to Wimbledon this year if the stars and the moon align. We have been to the US Open and we've been to the Miami Open. I could watch tennis all the time. When I first started out writing, I wrote advertorials for a local magazine called Better Health and Living. They were advertising disguised as an article. So I would interview doctors and health agencies or nursing homes. I did that for, I think, about 3 years. And then I had children, and I continued to write, but never put anything out there, just tucked it away in a drawer where it still is. And then I wrote Firstborn and First Awakened and joined Tampa Writers Alliance. I am currently working on book 3 in the Firstborn books trilogy. It's outlined, but I need to get working on that. My future plans are to write the Guardians of Dare Chronicle and have it be a complete series with numerous books, kind of like Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instrument. That is my goal. You can just go on forever. You can look me up. You can find me on Twitter at Janelle Gabay. You can find me on Instagram at Firstborn Books. You can find me on Facebook, my author page. It's author Janelle Gabay. Or I think it might be Firstborn Books there too. You can probably look up both. So hope you look me up.